Recording in progress.
All right. Good evening, everybody. It is 6 o'clock. We'll go ahead and get started on our July 28, 2025 regular city commission meeting starting at 6 o'clock. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, next is the approval of the agenda. What is the pleasure of the commission?
I move to approve the agenda as presented. Support.
All right, Abby, call the roll.
Mayor Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Sorolla?
Yes.
Commissioner Ori?
Yes.
Commissioner Fernandez?
Yes.
All right, now on to announcements. Real quick, Commissioner Binkley is out tonight, so as you can see, it is just the four of us this evening. And we have some special guests this evening, so if you all want to start making your way up, we have Miss St. Joseph 2025 and her court. Yes, we have a gift for you, but I'm under the assumption that you all want to make some comments. So why don't we start with comments first? Whoever wants to go first, and then we'll present the gift. That is on.
Hi, everyone. My name is Addison Colbert. I'm with St. Joseph 2025, and we're just going to speak on kind of our year. So this is kind of associated with Blossom Time Festival. We're the St. Joseph Scholarship Program through a pageant, and we competed this December for our roles, and we all respectively won. And we were able to go out for the title Miss and Mr. Blossom Time this past April, which we all had such a blast. It's such a unique experience, and being able to be a part of all of these things and events means a lot to us. So we're very, very grateful. I will be attending the University of Michigan this fall to study neuroscience. So I'm very, very excited for that. And we'll move over to Bella.
Hi, my name is Bella LeClaire. I am Miss Congeniality 2025, and I'm attending Western Michigan University, and I will be going into early childhood education.
Hi, my name is Elvin Vu. I'll be going to Grand Valley for computer engineering, and my favorite memory of this whole experience was Alice. Yeah.
Hi guys, I'm Bradley Sheldon, and I'm actually going to LMC for the first 2 years to get my Gen 9s out of the way, and then I hope to either go to Western or GVSU for nursing.
All right. Thank you. And if you all want to come on over here, we have some gifts for you. All right, Mr. St. Joseph 2025 Sheldon. Here you go. Lou Thompson. She'll be there. Okay. Cozen. Look there, and then the last one's still on the way. Come. Yeah, or she's out of town. Oh, okay. No. Yeah. All right. Go ahead and open them all at the same time. They might be the same thing.
Be anything.
Yes. Show those off, guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Please.
You want me to get this out of the way? Yeah.
I think she wants you guys behind us. Yeah.
Hold them up nice and high so they can see them. All right.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
All right, we will allow our loyalty to either stay or a royalty to either stay or leave. It's up to you. Feel free to stay for the meeting, but okay. All right, our next announcement, we have an exciting new form. You might have noticed on your way in, there's a new form in the back, and I'm going to let Emily explain that.
Thank you. And I'm sitting basically on top of Lori because of the drip. So my apologies. So yes, as Brooke said, we have a new city commission public comment form that is in the back of the room that we created to help us respond to public comments. I hope it goes without saying, but I want to say it loud and clear that feedback is super important to us. It is such an important process, an important part of our process. It's how we know how folks are feeling. It's how we take input and sort of digest everything and make decisions and make adjustments. But there are a lot of times, as many in this room have seen and others at home have seen, when people come up, they make public comment, we nod, and then they sit back down. And then the next person comes up and makes public comment and we nod and they sit back down. And we've gotten feedback that we are trying to respond to, which is that can be a little frustrating on both sides, to be fair. And so one of the things that we wanted to do is figure out a way to improve our engagement. The way that city commission meetings are set up, it's not really meant to be a dialogue. It's 3 minutes of public comment. But what we wanted to do is create a dialogue in a different way, which is to gather your name and your contact information, whether it's email or phone or both, and maybe a note about what you plan to speak on so that we can follow up with you after the fact. Sometimes there are questions that you want answers to. Sometimes there are suggestions. Whatever it is, we want to be able to have that dialogue and respond to that feedback. So going forward, this form will be in the back of the room. Anyone who wants to give public comment, please fill it out. Bring it to our city clerk, Abby, on your way up to the podium. If you're going to make public comment more than once, you may do that as long as it's on different agenda items. So fill it out more than once. And if you get it to Abby, what we will do is we're working on an internal process to get it to the right staff member and get back to you. So that was a long overview of our new form, but we are excited to be able to have that more direct dialogue with you. So please fill it out. Thank you.
And Emily, just a quick question. Is this for everybody who wants to make any public comment or just
Yes.
somebody who wants to get an answer?
I will say it is not required. We can't mandate it, but we would encourage anyone to do it so that we can follow up with you. Even if you're not looking for an answer, we might want more information about what you share. And so it is helpful to us to have it.
Because like you said, the public comment is everyone's opportunity to make comment. It's not a Q&A back and forth dialogue, but this is the opportunity to get the answers that people are looking for.
Right.
Thank you. Any other questions about the form? Cool.
Thanks.
All right. And we will keep this on the agenda for several meetings just so we can kind of explain it each of the meetings moving forward because we're going to get new people coming through. So,
I'll tighten up my overview.
all right. Next announcement is public comment. So this is for items that are on the consent agenda or not on the agenda. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Come up to the podium and state your name and address. All right. Seeing none, we will move on to the consent agenda. Items include invoice and tax disbursements, zoning board appeals vacancy and change in positions, 2026 meeting dates, approval of resolution and NOI to issue joint revenue bonds, JWWTP, rescind RES 2025-226, and the shotgun buyback program, declaration and notice Whirlpool Centennial Park, and regular meeting minutes of Monday, July 14th, 2025. What is the pleasure of the commission?
I move to accept the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
All right, Abby, call the roll.
Commissioner Sorolla,
Yes.
Commissioner Ulrey,
Yes.
Commissioner Fernandez.
Yes.
Mayor Thomas.
Yes. On to old business, item number 11, DDA TIF and Citizen Council.
Kelly's gonna come up.
Great.
Good evening. So Andrew from Cornerstone and I are going to kind of tag team this a little bit. As you guys may recall, over the last year or so, the DDA has been looking at possibly instituting a TIF district, a tax increment financing district in the downtown area. There's some stipulations with that. Andrew's going to give a quick overview of the TIF just as a refresher, because it's been a while. So we're going to do that and then I'll circle back around.
Check anytime.
I will.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone. So I hope this feels like a refresher for the commission and the administration. I'm sure there's some people that this is going to be new to. So we're going to talk about the Downtown Development Authority Act and how that is set up, what it is intended to do, and a little bit of history on it. So the DDA Act goes back to 1975. It has been employed successfully across the state by hundreds of communities. I have a list at my seat of the 126 that currently have TIF districts. So the stuff we're talking about is not cutting edge or revolutionary in any way. It's a tried and true tool here in the state of Michigan. Next slide. Oh, actually, I didn't. There's a couple things I wanted to highlight there. So the goals of the TIF Act back in 1975 were the key passages are to correct and prevent deterioration within downtowns, to promote economic growth, and then really to authorize the use of tax increment financing. So I'll talk a little bit about what that actually means here in a second. Next one. So how are they funded? Special assessments are one way in which DDAs are funded. The DDA here in St. Joe does have a special assessment that generates a modest amount of money every year. I think it's somewhere around $50,000. 60, okay. That's great. It's impactful. It allows for some great activities, but it's modest in the grand scheme of things as far as what it takes to really build a great downtown. DDAs can accept grants. They can accept donations. And the big one we're going to talk about today is tax increment financing. So what that does is allows the Downtown Development Authority to capture the growth of the tax revenues within that district for a set period of time, up to 30 years. Those are revenues that the city and the DDA would otherwise not have access to. So the city had one of these many, many years ago in the 1980s, and I can't speak with any authority on why it didn't for the last several decades, but I suspect there was maybe a somewhat narrow reading of the way that this tool could be used. And there's been some encouragement in the economic development strategy that the city adopted last year to employ one of these. Go ahead. Okay, so I'm going to try and explain this fancy looking chart here. So at the bottom of this, the value, the axis that's going up is the values within the district. The one that's the horizontal is the time. So if you're at the bottom left, that has the values today and the baseline property value. So that's what all the property in the district is worth today. And those taxes are what the various taxing authorities get in year one at the start. So as values go up, the baseline is frozen. Those taxing units continue to receive what they're getting in year one. So no, they're not being charged anything. And that increment, that growth in the blue area, as it goes up, stays with the authority and gets reinvested within the borders of the district. I'll talk a little bit about how those decisions are made and how those funds have to be invested per the law. And then when the plan is done at its conclusion, at that second yellow all the way on the right, the taxes flow through to the other authorities at that increased value over the time. Go ahead. So what can they fund? They can fund a lot of different things. They have to be laid out in a plan that is a publicly adopted plan. That is called the development plan. So it lays out the priorities and projects, and it also lays out other anticipated revenues in cities that have paid parking, that have a millage, some do, some don't. You kind of capture all that and put it into your development plan. The plan that the DDA looked at last year included a number of things, including DDA operations and maintenance. So that's things like the parking lots downtown, seasonal plantings and decor, landscaping, operating supplies, all the day-to-day stuff it takes to keep a downtown functioning. They can also fund professional services if you need to bring someone in to do marketing or an ad campaign or other services. And then also streetscape, sidewalk amenities, and infrastructure. So DDA TIF plans can fund streetscape improvements, public art, sidewalk amenities, street furniture, lighting, all that stuff. And then also the administration. So any costs associated with this work can be funded by the TIF. Go ahead. So what impact? The plan that was drafted by the DDA last year and would come back before commission, I think, with some revisions and another review by the Citizens Council that Kelly's going to talk about, envisioned redesigning and reconstructing some of the downtown parking lots, updates and maintenance to those lots, streetscapes for Pleasant Street Plaza, Broad Street, State Street. There's some really interesting designs that were done last year that I think would make for some really compelling additions to downtown. And then it could also contribute to MDOT's redesign project for Main Street. I guess I would say that MDOT is coming to make an investment in Main Street, and they're going to do it their way. And if the community desires to have kind of that next level of polish, this is a great way to do it. DDA TIF can also go to grant programs for downtown buildings like facade grants and other things of that nature. And then landscaping and maintenance throughout the downtown. And then we already talked about public art and amenities. So what's the process? This takes some time and would probably, these steps will kind of stretch out through the rest of this year. So Kelly is going to talk about number 2. The first thing is the DDA is going to go back and take a look at their TIF and development plan. So what's in it? Is this still relevant? Does it tie back to the downtown master plan? Is it consistent with what feedback we've heard from the community over the last years, months, and weeks? At that point, they create a citizen council, which is made up of residents within the proposed district or within the proposed TIF plan area, which then chimes in and helps kind of shape and further refine that plan. At that point, the city commission reviews the request, sets a date for a public hearing. There's some other process steps that have to happen with notices being sent to the taxing authorities, published in the paper. Everyone has a chance to come in and give feedback on this. Property owners get mailed a notice. Public hearing is conducted. The commission would then vote on the plan, not more than 60 days after the public hearing. There's an adoption in the newspaper, and then it's filed with the Secretary of State. So I'm assuming somewhere within there as well, some additional engagement with the community. These are the steps the legislation calls for, but every discussion that I've heard, there's a real desire to engage and make sure that the plan hits the mark. So I'm happy to answer questions from commission if there are any.
No questions.
These are just, well-established tools, like you said, Andrew, that, will allow us to reinvest in the downtown and make what we have better than it is.
Yeah. And a really important thing that I did not hit on, but was up there is this is not a new tax. No one within the district pays a penny more. It's just about how the funds are used and where they go once they're collected. So.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So as Andrew said, one of the important things that we have to do, because there's over 100 actual residents in our downtown district, one of the requirements is we have to have a 9-member citizen resident council. So that's what I'm asking for tonight. I did do mailings for all the addresses that I had, and we had pretty good response. I was actually excited by the number of people that are interested in this. I did do a meeting at the Whitcomb in person, just because that is in the district as well. So yeah, we've had a lot of affirmative responses of people wanting to be engaged. So if you approve this tonight, I will work with, I'm totally blanking, the appointment committee on how you want to go about interviewing and getting that group together. And then I'll bring those recommendations back for approval.
Mhm.
So.
Is there a certain cadence that this group needs to meet, or is it just kind of ad hoc?
We're gonna meet initially to kind of get things set up. We'll meet a couple times, and then as the TIF plan develops, and we start getting funds and whatnot, they'll have some say in that. They will make recommendations to the DDA, which will then come to you. So it's kind of getting the input of the downtown residents to the DDA. DDA will come to you, and we go from there.
Got it. Thank you.
So, yeah.
Other questions?
As part of the, subcommittee for the new appointments, Kelly, thank you for, putting this together. I look forward to helping to do those interviews to form this new council, and thanks for the information, Andrew.
Thank you.
All right. What is the pleasure of the commission?
I move to approve the resolution to establish a downtown development area citizens council as presented.
Support. Any public comment on the matter? All right, Abby, call the roll.
There's a public.
Since I'm in public comments, I've got like 30 seconds. I just want to say shout out to the city council, streets. Great job on cleaning streets in Lions Park. Thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you. All right. Abby, call the roll.
Commissioner Olry,
Yes.
Commissioner Fernandez.
Yes.
Mayor Thomas.
Yes.
Commissioner Sorolla.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. All right, on to new business, item number 12, land combination variance 1402 and 1404 Lake Boulevard, Robert and Amelia Nolan.
So Trudy's going to present on this one. Kristen is away on vacation.
All righty.
Hi, I'm Trudy Wilder, building official for the city of St. Joe, filling in for Kristen. And Robert and Amelia Nolan, I believe they're here, are owners of 1402 and 1404 Lake Boulevard. They're proposing a land combination combining two parcels into one. Both properties are located in the R1A Single Family Residence District. And 404 Lake Boulevard parcel is improved with a single-family dwelling, and 1402 property is vacant. The combination will be 130.72 feet. So the applicants purchased both properties in April of 2020. And the staff is unable to administratively approve the land combination as submitted because the width of the new parcel will exceed 120 feet as allowed in the R1A Single Family Residence District. The new parcel size will be 16,420 square feet. So the City Commission may, upon appeal, authorize a variance from the strict application of the provisions of this appendix and can approve this.
Okay,
So that's what we're asking.
all right, questions?
As I understand,
Go ahead.
I mean, as I understand it, this, request came about as a desire to update their deck that was already there. And
Yeah, there was a deck on the parcel with the house that we found out had been unpermitted previously, and it made the lot coverage too big for that parcel. So by combining it, then they would be able to have the correct lot coverage.
Yeah. And I think the original deck was permitted, but there was an addition to the deck at some point, I think, which wasn't
At some
permitted.
point.
Correct. And then it exceeded the 35%.
Long before they bought.
Yeah, exceeded the 35% lot coverage. So by combining the two lots, they are then below the threshold of 35%. So they're
Correct.
not adding any deck, they're just replacing what's there.
The only problem was that by combining it, we exceeded the 120
Sure,
feet.
sure.
So
Do you know the purpose of that part of the ordinance, the 120 feet?
a good question for Lori.
Typically, when you have minimum lot sizes and maximum, it's to have some sort of uniformity in those areas. A lot of times there's a limit on how big a parcel can be, so they're not, great big huge homes, for example, right next to smaller homes.
Sure.
So they try to keep some consistency in the zoning for uniformity and just to keep the character of the neighborhood, somewhat aligned. So that's one of the main reasons for having minimum and maximum lot widths.
Gotcha. And I think this particular parcel is adjacent to a city-owned piece of property. Is that correct, along the bluff, or is that owned by the
It is
residents?
not,
Okay, but it's
right.
it's open.
It's open space right now.
Correct.
There are several parcels along there. There is one lot that's city-owned, but that's a few parcels
Yeah.
away,
1304.
Okay.
right? I would just point out too, the bottom paragraph in your memo on page 100 is what you would need to review to authorize this. And that's basically that the strict application of the provisions of this would result in practical difficulties or undue hardship to the applicant. And the result would not be a substantial detriment to the public good and does not impair the intent and purpose of the appendix.
Right.
Got it. Okay.
And I don't feel like anything in this packet violates those sentences that you just said. So from what I'm reading here, it seems like it's something that's acceptable to approve, authorize.
Agree.
I'm glad that we were able to, find a way to make, this deck happen, for you folks. I think, I'm happy with where this is landing, in doing this. I don't see any issues with, combining their two properties together, like the rest of the commission. I find myself aligned in that, but I do think that their scenario, from their perspective, they purchased this home, it had a deck, and this came up as a result of them simply wanting to update their deck, as I understand it. And our rules are so complicated that we ended up, in order to just modify what they already had in this home that they bought here in our community, our own rules made it harder for them to just simply replace it, to the point where we have to combine lots to make that happen. There's some opportunity. I know they could have done other things to make it possible, but I think in general, it's far too complicated. It's a great example of why we need to just overhaul all of our zoning ordinances. And instead of continuing at the piece by piece that we've done during my time on the commission.
Yeah, and I think in the interim, it's not knowing how long it's going to take. We should specifically look at the 35% lot coverage. Because I think, the properties in downtown St. Joe, when they were built many, many years ago, the near requirement of wanting to have a detached garage wasn't in place. It is now. It's a deterrent, 35% lot coverage for those types of things. Decks should probably be excluded entirely, unless they're elevated. And maybe we can look at, what that dimension is as far as elevations, but I think that, specifically needs to be looked at, the 35% lot coverage.
One thing that's interesting about this parcel is that it was all one parcel at one time, and in 2010, I think it was 2010, it was split.
Okay.
So it was split into 3 different parcels.
So interestingly, maybe a permit wasn't pulled by the owner at that time, but at the time the deck was built, it could have been under the 35% lot coverage. And then as a result of the split, became over 35%.
I think the deck was done sometime between 2011 and 2014.
Okay.
From what we could tell from Google Maps
Okay.
and others.
I just want to add that I agree completely when it comes to the zoning. We have asked Kristen to look at lot coverage in other similar communities, to at least start looking at what the right percentage might be. My understanding is 35% has been in place forever. That doesn't make it the right number. I agree that, I understand that at least part of lot coverage is about water. And, I think we should start looking at whether there should be exceptions for things like decks where water can flow right through, or permeable pavement or something like that. The other thing that comes up, and I know I've spoken about this some, is we don't have flexibility in our ordinance. It's 120 feet, period. It isn't 120 feet,
Give or take.
give or take, if there's a reasonable explanation. And so those are the most immediate things I want to look at as it relates to this, because this issue is not new and continues to come up. And I know we're looking at doing a larger overhaul, but hopefully these are things that we can address more quickly.
And to that point too, 120 feet, if you're 20 feet over that, okay, let's take a look at it. 1 inch over that, it sounds like it's just such an arduous process bringing it through this body and having to do that, and not giving you, the staff, the authority to say, okay, 1 inch, okay, that's not doing any detriment to our community. Why are we
Right.
putting everything through the
Right.
ringer with
So
this?
obviously the language would be worked on.
Sure.
But that's the intent, is that we have that kind of flexibility.
So that is something you're exploring?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay.
Any other questions?
No.
All right, what is the pleasure of the commission?
I move to approve a request from property owners Robert and Amelia Nolan for the properties known as 1402 and 1404 Lake Boulevard for land combination adjustment that requires a variance from section 5.2, table 5.1, footnote 8 of the zoning ordinance to increase the maximum allowed lot width from 120 feet to 130.72 feet per chapter 27 subdivision, section A25 of the code of ordinances, because strict application of the allowable low width dimension and the described and depicted on the certificate of survey document prepared by Marsh with the date of July 21, 2025 would result in practical difficulties or undue hardships to property owners, and the resulting parcels will not result in a substantial determinant to the public good, determinant to the public good, nor impair the intent and purpose of the city's land division regulations with the condition that the city's written notice of the approval of certificate of survey document be recorded by the applicants of the Berrien County Register of Deeds.
Support.
Do we have any public comment on this issue? Okay, Abby, call the roll.
Commissioner Fernandez,
Yes.
Mayor Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Sorolla,
Yes.
Commissioner Ulrich.
Yes.
Thank you. All right. We are now on to
Indeed.
Hey.
Yes. They get their day.
Item number
Yes.
13, 2929 Lakeshore Drive, Clark Logistics Group LVI, map amendment C, commercial business to R3 multiple family residence district, first reading. You again? All right.
Again, yep. So Clark Logistics is the applicant for the property of a 1.57 acre parcel known as 2929 Lakeshore Drive. They're requesting approval of a zoning map amendment from the C Commercial Business District to R3 Multiple Family Residence District. On July 9th, the Planning Commission conducted a public hearing and heard a presentation by the applicant requesting approval of a map amendment for this change. 3 property owners spoke against the request that also submitted written comments. Concerns heard included increased pedestrian and vehicle traffic where there is poor visibility on Lakeshore Drive with high traffic volumes, poor maintenance of the existing property owned by the applicant, and increased density of housing, concern that property values will decrease, additional noise and garbage and debris blowing from adjacent properties, and change in quality of life. After closing the public hearing, commissioners asked questions of the neighbors before the Planning Commission, but they recommended approval of the request by a vote of 5-1 for this parcel. The Planning Commission concluded the request is consistent with the 2016 master plan. The property immediately to the south is located in the R3 multiple family residence district and improved with apartments. There is a need for additional housing throughout the county, and no building permits will be issued until the development complies with all adopted regulations. So there is, the applicant is here, I believe, Tim is here. If you have any additional questions. Or you could come up and I'll introduce them. This is Tim Monahan from Clark.
I'm here to answer any questions you guys have. We're still pretty new in the project, so we don't have unit mixes, how big the building's gonna be yet. We're just here for the rezone.
Great. Any questions?
With limited, like you said, this is just a simple rezoning request. There's no plans for what that building could be. But there are, as I was reviewing, the information and the comments from the neighboring residents, any opportunity to, at least for what you can control, you only control your parcel, right? But there's some entrance, is that something that you foresee being able to work to help make that, possibly even better than it is today? I know there's some visibility challenges that they express. Is any potential for that, or too soon to tell?
It's too soon to tell. It's an MDOT issue right away there. So it's hard to tell with that. We do plan on sidewalks, and we're gonna try to make our parcel as nice as possible.
Sure.
Enclosed trash enclosures. We have issues with the neighboring properties as well. So yeah, we're gonna really conform and
Sure.
and make a nice project. We just don't know how big that's gonna be and what it is yet. Do we do soil burnings? Unit mixes, there's so many things we have to figure out first. So, rezone's the first step.
Yep, absolutely. I think this is consistent with, some of the needs that we have in our community. We need more housing. I think it's, we have limited space as to where we can do. And I think that you guys have identified a, piece of their property that is a good candidate, for creating that additional housing. And I guess their next step after assuming we approve this tonight is figuring out what exactly that size is, right? What you can fit and make fit into that portion. But where we are today, I mean, this is a zoning, and I think we need more housing and to bring more families, into our community to live, work, and grow here. And this is consistent with that. I look forward to seeing and I'm hopeful that we can, find things that make everybody as happy as possible, but we need more housing in our city.
It's an opportunity to have a higher and better use for what's now a parking lot. And to your point, it does check those boxes of things we're trying to accomplish. So I think from a zoning ordinance standpoint, it does align with what we're trying to accomplish.
And that's a great point, Mike. I mean, best possible use of space right now. This is a parking lot that is serving nobody. That can be someone's home. And that person that lives there and calls that home will be an active contributor to our community. And that sounds much better than a parking lot.
Not seeing any renditions of what it's going to look like. I'm sure it'll be better than that parking lot.
Anything moving.
I think this is a question for staff. Is there any evidence to support the resident complaint about poor maintenance of property already owned by the property owner?
Poor maintenance by Clark?
I mean, I think you said that there was one of the complaints that in the public hearing, someone said that there was poor maintenance by one of the nearby property owners or the.
Existing
apartments
Yeah, it was actually referring to different apartment complexes down the road. It wasn't the
Has
same
nothing to do
property
with, okay,
owner.
okay,
Right.
thank you. I just wanted to clarify that. And as far as the concern of increased traffic, I mean, I don't even know how you would prove that without a project already approved. We don't even know what it's gonna look like yet, but what do we do with that concern?
I'll look to the attorney to correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, I think the reality is that the master plan from 2016 calls for moving this type of property to R3.
Okay.
I think that, yes, there would be more traffic, but it's traffic that I think that road can handle. We can do everything that we can in working with MDOT and working with the developer to try to account for that. But I think that the reality is a development like that would result in more traffic.
Yeah, I also
There's no
think,
concern
I think
with that.
historically, there was a lot of traffic
yeah,
there.
when it was a
It-
Heath Zenith building, there was a lot more traffic there than the 60 or 80 units. Because
Yeah.
it employed hundreds of people.
Right,
So,
right.
And that
there-
was not a problem at the time.
right.
Not to the best of my knowledge.
Okay.
Anything you'd add, Lori?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything with the zoning that would change that. And as the applicant stated, MDOT would have to approve any kind of driveway access changes and things like that, which was again, one of the concerns that was raised by the neighbors. And that's really MDOT's decision on whether that could even be feasible.
Thank you.
Good.
Any other questions?
Currently commercial, so.
Yeah.
Commercial to residential.
All right, well, what is the pleasure of the commission?
I move to approve the first reading of an ordinance to approve a zoning map amendment rezoning request by Clark Logistics Group 4 LLC for the property known as 2929 Lakeshore Drive from the C Commercial Business District to R3 Multiple Family Residence District based on the information included in the July 9, 2025 Planning Commission as the request meets the required standards under section 22.3 of the zoning ordinance.
Support. Any public comment on the matter?
I have one of the residents. I think I was first. Oh, you first. Okay.
Just again, thank you for your time. I'll be brief here. Long time, been familiar with the folks at Clark Logic for many years. They're a great landlord throughout the region and have extensive holdings. So again, Andrew Hahn with Cornerstone Alliance. I want to remind everyone, one of the top two things that we hear at almost every visit with existing employers in the county, employers within the county, is that there's not enough housing for their employees. It's also a challenge when we're working on attraction projects. When we've got a lead that comes down from the state and they want to bring 500 jobs, we can't say to them, well, if you come, we'll build it. It's not an acceptable answer. We need more housing supply here. It's going to benefit, housing supply benefits the city's tax base, the city's businesses. Theoretically, a 50-unit building, this is not a number that Clark has said their building would be. That would put about $2.75 million in consumer spending into the trade area most of which would be within the city. As noted, it's consistent with the city's master plan. The market analysis that was approved as part of the adopted economic development strategy calls for 525 units to be absorbed over the next 5 years. So it seems as though there is market for it. And again, the concerns on traffic and safety, I think this would be a great upgrade. There is not sidewalk there. We heard Tim say that there would be a sidewalk added, so there would be a safety improvement for pedestrians. And then as far as access goes, anything that would happen would have to go through MDOT and their engineer and their safety processes. So we're in support. We think it's great, and we'll be up here every time there's a housing project before commission speaking in support of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Come on up.
Oh, thank you.
Hi, my name is Mike Harmon. I'm one of the residents that's next to this project that you are going to probably approve. But I live at 2831 Lakeshore Drive, and I'm assuming that you guys got the memo from all three residents that oppose this. Now, our properties are very, very unique, in that we have basically trees on one side of the property, trees on the other side of the property, trees behind us. And our property, our neighbors have like 6 acres back there. We got a creek to the north of there. And so we have all this wildlife that comes through. So we have deer, we have fox, we have turkeys. I mean, we have all this. You put this project in there, that's probably going to go away. And then on top of it, you talk about the curve, that goes over the railroad tracks. That speed limit is there 40 miles an hour. The curve says 35. In actuality, it's probably more like 50, 55, what people are doing down there. Not to mention when MDOT did their paving, my property does not have sidewalks since I face Lakeshore Drive. My neighbors are behind me. Now, I don't have the sidewalks, so I have people constantly coming from the other apartment building, across my yard to get towards downtown, wherever they may be going. So that's pretty much, kind of an issue for us, because they dump trash on our yards. So every week I'm picking something up. So that's kind of the frustration part, and you can understand where that would come from. Now, ClarkLogic, I mean, I get it. Their business, they seem to be doing a very, very good job. They've basically taken care of, their property, the warehouse over there. They're in the business of buying distressed properties. I get it. This, the old Whirlpool property it was a distressed property. So they're basically rehabbing it, which is awesome for the city of St. Joe. However, you guys talk about, having tree canopy. You got trees on that lot right there where the parking lot is. Those are all gonna go. I mean, when Clark came up here during the planning committee, and like you said, we have no idea how many units they're proposing. No idea of what quality the construction is gonna be, nothing. So, I mean, it's hard for us to say, oh, Clark, you're a great company, but you're not giving us anything to basically say, yeah, I can go along with this. So that's the only reason why I'm up here today, just voicing my frustration, so that you guys understand where we're coming from, and when they sent out those notices, for public comment, it's probably only the 4 of us that got it. There's neighbors to our north. They never got anything on that. So they never got to make a comment on this project either. I get that we need housing. I mean, as I looked at realtor.com today, and there's over 200 listings on that today. So do we need another 10, condo units there? I don't know if they're gonna be condo units. I don't know if they're gonna be apartments.
That's your 3 minutes, sir.
What's that?
That was your 3 minutes, the timer.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
So I'll just finish by saying,
Mhm.
just take in consideration what we're seeing. I mean, I don't fight ClarkLogic. I get what they're doing. They're trying to make money. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? All right. And again, this is just for the rezoning. We don't have a project yet. That will be something that, would we approve that in the future? project, or is that, once this is rezoned, it's done?
You may not necessarily approve it if it meets all the zoning requirements.
I see. If
yeah,
there's
I
some
mean,
like
it's-
variance or something, then
Right,
it,
well,
Or a
possibly,
PUD.
yeah,
Right,
PUD would
right.
be more likely, but you may not.
okay. All right, any other questions before we call roll? All right, Abby?
Mayor Thomas.
Yes.
Commissioner Sorolla,
Yes.
Commissioner Overy,
Yes.
Commissioner Fernandez.
Yes.
All right, we are now on item number 14. We have a public hearing. This is for 1234 Napier Avenue, Lakeland Hospitals at Niles and St. Joseph, Inc., commonly known as Corwell Health Lakeland. Plan Unit Development, Third Amendment, allow irregularly shaped two-story building addition being less than 3,000 square feet between laboratory and emergency department areas on south side of building. I guess, do we need to open a public hearing right now? Okay, so we are gonna open the public hearing at 6:46 PM.
So Lakeland Hospitals at Niles and St. Joseph, commonly known as Corwell Health, has filed a request for a third amendment to the 2016 planned unit development, which allowed for a building expansion and site improvements. Properties located at the southeast corner of Napier and Langley Avenues and known as 1234 Napier Avenue. So, I believed you received all the information in your packet. They're proposing, an addition on the south side for a behavioral med wing. Is there anybody here from the hospital to, I don't think Mr. Cooper could make it tonight, but, I'll try to answer if you have specific questions.
Okay, well, we will skip item number 3 for applicant presentation then, and we'll count that as the number 3. Do we have any city commission questions?
No questions. It was pretty straightforward reviewing the map of what they're trying to do. It's a, the corner, piece that is essentially, just a very small modification. So I feel like I understood it. So I don't have any questions of the applicant that would not be answered by just reviewing what they submitted. So I feel comfortable.
Okay. Then we will move along to public comments. Do we have any public comments? All right, seeing none, we will skip applicant response since there are no questions, and we will close the public hearing at 6:48 PM. 2-minute hearing. All right, I guess I need a motion to close. Is that correct, Lori? Okay, can we get a motion to close?
I move to close the public hearing.
Support.
All right, Abby, call the roll.
Commissioner Sorolla,
Yes.
Commissioner Overy,
Yes.
Commissioner Fernandez.
Yes.
Mayor Thomas.
Yes, it is now closed, still at 6:48 PM. So I think we need a motion on the actual item.
Item 15?
Yep.
I think that's it.
Thank you. Okay, so then that moves us along to the next item. 1234 Napier Avenue, Lakeland Hospitals at Niles and St. Joseph, Inc., Plan Unit Development, Third Amendment.
Rudy, is that you again?
Okay, so. So the applicant is requesting to modify the PUD to allow the two-story addition. So what do you need me to do other than to read this?
I think that's
Got
pretty
in
much
there for me
it. I
on
mean,
that
it's the
real
same
quick.
information from
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
Facts are all still the same.
Yeah.
Yep, all good.
All right.
Thank you, Trudy, for filling in on that one. Just to reiterate, when you look at the blueprint of what the hospital is requesting to do, it's essentially infilling a little gap that's in the architecture, so that there is no longer gap. And then on the inside, they are left with usable space. I think that would be great.
It allows them to access both sides without changing floors too, I think is what I read, so.
Yeah, there's definitely some operational improvements
Yeah,
to
yeah.
them, and it's that little
Yeah.
red
Squiggly.
squiggly
Yeah.
right here. So very minor. It doesn't change the character of the building in any significant way.
And it's in the heart of their project, in their property. It's not along an edge or anything, so.
With
Okay.
that, I move to approve the third amendment to the planned unit development for the property located at 1234 Napier Avenue, commonly known as Corwell Health, Lakeland Hospital, St. Joseph Hospital, as presented to allow an irregularly shaped two-story addition on the south side of the building, with each floor being less than 1,500 square feet, as the request meets the required standards under sections 13.2, 13.3.1, 13.3.3, and 13.6 of the zoning ordinance based on the applications found in the July 9th, 2025 Planning Commission packet, which includes 4 sheets depicting proposed site modifications with no new or modified waivers being requested.
Support.
All right, any public comment on the matter? All right, Abby, call the roll.
Commissioner Ori,
Yes.
Commissioner Fernandez,
Yes.
Mayor Thomas.
Yes,
Commissioner Sorolla.
Yes.
thank you. All right. Good night. Item number 16, we are on to Development District DDA for liquor license. Kelly, you're up.
Up here, okay. So, over the last few months, staff in the DDA have been approached about, alternative liquor license, the downtown district. And we did some research, again with Andrew from Cornerstone. The Development District Liquor License Program allows municipalities, with a DDA to offer on-premise liquor licenses to businesses in the district. These licenses can help spur economic development by making it a little bit easier for these establishments to get a liquor license without the population stipulations. In order for the city to approve this, we have to have at least $200,000 in real and personal property investment in the preceding 5 years within the district, which we do. Jacob confirmed that for me. And then for the applicant, there's quite a list of things that they need to have. It has to have at least $75,000 expended for new construction or the rehab or restoration in the building, or a commitment of capital investment of $75,000. They have to be engaged in activities related to dining, entertainment, or recreation. They have to be open to the general public with a seating capacity of not less than 25 persons. They are on premise, so if for some reason the business doesn't last, it does not go on the open market, like it just, so it stays with that business. And the thing is, it's the attractive thing for the businesses, it's only $20,000 for the license versus kind of going on the open market and you can pay whatever the price is out there. So in order to offer these licenses, the city must pass a resolution creating a development district, which in this case is the DDA. You've got the wording layout of that. Then as the program, if you approve it, as applicants come in, you will have the option to approve them. We're still gonna work out. It's kind of up to the city on how we lay this out, but right now I'm just asking for approval of the redevelopment district or the development district, excuse me. There is at least one applicant here if you have questions. I've been approached by, I think 4. And we can have well over that based on our level of investment over the previous 5 years. So
I think I'd asked the question before, is there a cap or a limit to the amount of these we can approve? And the answer was not that we're aware of.
it is, so for every $200,000 in investment in the previous 5 years, we can offer a license. So right now we're looking at about 10.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And we
Wow.
have 4.
And that's a lot
so-
of development, a lot of
Yes.
improvements.
I asked Jacob to pull the numbers and I was pleasantly surprised. So it's good.
Cool. Any other questions?
Just another good way to take advantage of pre-existing tools that are already out there. You know, Kelly, you mentioned, you know, that it can be costly for a new business to obtain a liquor license on their own, and this can, utilizing existing framework, make it easier and spur economic growth. So
I'm sorry, they do still need to go through the MLCC and get approved and everything. So
Right.
once you approve it, then there's a whole nother set that is on them
Yeah,
to
there's-
approve and.
it's still very restrictive, you know, you're still, you know, following all of these state regulations to make sure that all properly controlled and all of that, but this
Absolutely.
is definitely way easier and less costly for them.
Is this a new program or has it been around for a while?
It's fairly new in the last, do you know, Andrew?
10 years. Oh, wow.
Maybe not that new, new to us, yes. So,
Good.
Not well known.
I was gonna ask, how did we not hear 10 years ago? Is it just kind of a good, well-kept secret?
Sorry to not be invited because I'm speaking, but there's a few places in Berrien County that have used this. So Buchanan has, Benton Harbor just adopted a policy. Waterfleet is considering one, I think soon. There's probably every bar in downtown Kalamazoo the last 10 years or maybe longer is used. this. So
Wow.
it's a really good tool to lower the barrier to.
I think this goes back to what a great relationship we've built with Cornerstone over the last few years. They keep highlighting programs for us that we were previously not aware of. And with Kelly's support, we're going after them. So it's been a really great relationship and opened up opportunities for us.
Good.
Oh, well, thank you, Andrew, and for Cornerstone's help with all of this. It takes a lot of different things all coming together to make our city move into the future, so.
I move to approve the resolution to establish the development district pursuant to MCL 436.1521A '1 as presented.
Support. Any public comment on the matter?
Ann Barnes, 608 Market Street, right on the edge of this DDA development. This is a small area and we're supposed to be a family-friendly beach community. Do we need that many establishments that are selling liquor? What kind of an image are we trying to portray? Just keep that in mind, please. We have families that come here with their children. There are already some issues that we've experienced on Market and State Street. You've already got the little open carry glasses thing there. And having worked in the dime store, when that first came out, we would have people come in and they were obviously inebriated. So keep that in mind when you're seeking to approve this. I know you want money for the community that will bring revenue, but life is precious. And we have children, we have families, we want them to come here and enjoy St. Joe, and we want everyone to be safe throughout our neighborhood and our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? All right, Abby, call the roll.
Commissioner Fernandez.
Yes.
Mayor Thomas.
Yes.
Commissioner Sorolla,
Yes.
Commissioner Ori.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Item number 17, 5-year Parks and Recreation Plan.
Right, good evening. As the commission may recall from this year's budget discussions, the city needs to update and submit its 5-year Parks and Rec Master Plan to the Michigan Department of Natural Resources by February 1st of 2026. If we do not have the plan on file, the city will not be eligible to apply for grants with the DNR until a new plan is on file. As you recall, with the Pyler Park project that's potentially up and coming, it's imperative that we get this completed so that we're eligible to submit that grant application as part of that project. With that in mind, city staff prepared a request for proposal from qualified professional planning consultants. The city received 8 responses. The proposal was reviewed by city staff and presented to the Parks and Recreation Board to review and make a recommendation at a special meeting on July 22nd. At the start of the discussion, the board agreed to remove the low bidder from consideration for not meeting the terms of the RFP. The remaining 7 firms were trimmed to 5 as 2 proposals exceeded the $30,000 budget for this project. From that point, the board narrowed the proposals down to 3 that it felt were exceptional. And those were Edgewater Resources here in St. Joseph, Troyer Group in Grand Rapids, and Avonmarsh locally here in Benton Harbor. And then they reviewed the proposals a little bit further. And after significant review and discussion, Parks and Recreation Advisory Board recommended the City Commission accept the proposal from Edgewater Resources of St. Joseph in the amount of $28,500 to perform the update to the 5-year Parks and Recreation Master Plan. While this is not the lowest bid, it is within budget, as mentioned earlier, and the board was extremely impressed by the proposal. Any questions?
Questions from the commission?
Yeah, as I looked through this, I understand we have to get this done. But we're not gonna be eligible for grants, DNR grants, by February of 2026. But, in that, we already have a plan in place and it's an update. And as I look through, the 6 tasks that are identified by the, applicant that we are planning to award the bid to, it looks like at least 4 of these, if not 5, are things that might be able to be done by staff internally. And I'm wondering if there's an opportunity for us to perhaps look at doing this internally and save $28,500. Is this something that we have done in the past ever and submitted this on our own, or we always used an outside agency?
This will be the 3rd time that we've done it since I've been with the city. The first year, basically when I started, I was handed it and said, go. And I'm like, so we did kind of do it in-house. We did have some assistance from Abbott Marsh and some other firms to kind of pull it off in such short notice. But, then subsequent years, and I think looking back, the city had used consultants previously as well. I think it was just with a lot of the transition that happened at that time, it kind of got lost. And that's why we kind of rushed it and got it done at that time. But I think the city has typically used consultants to do the plan. It is a heavy lift. We're from the Public Works, Parks and Rec side of things. We don't really have the capacity to take it on. It's just the timing of it it's not the best. We've got some other projects that we're working on. Like our Parks and Rec manager, this starts to be his ramp up to the winter season at the ice arena. And so it's not something we can add to his plate. So it does become difficult without some help, with our current workload.
Yeah, I think one of the things that caught my eye is as is typical with these, they give a rate sheet for the personnel that would work on the project, starting with the senior principal at $254 an hour, senior architect, $204 an hour, et cetera. But what really caught my eye, because a lot of them appear to be administrative functions of the 6 tasks, their admin fee is $115 an hour and their intern fee is $103 an hour. And it just seems like that's something we could do in-house, and at least some of these parts, and maybe splinter off if it's the hard filing that's time consuming and we don't have the expertise to do it. Maybe we could look at just sourcing that part of it. Just a thought that maybe we reconsider this and see if there's anything we can do internally to make this more cost effective. I thought it was at least worth asking.
I'd agree with Commissioner Sorolla as well. Just while I think it's all valuable work, I do think there's some ownership that can happen within the city staff. And so I definitely like to see how that would work.
And as Commissioner Sorolla also pointed out, I mean, we are not starting from scratch. I mean, I think that's the key. We have a Parks Master Plan. It's more of an update. And so I too would be in favor of, trying to reduce what we have to have someone else help us do and see if we can save a few dollars there. As well as it being an update. I think it presents a good opportunity for our doing it in-house. It obviously, if you're doing it in-house, you get more input on it. So
Right.
it gives us more opportunity to control the feedback. We have, 17 different parks in our city. And I think there's a lot of different things that, we could collect as terms of feedback. So even if components like that, we handled more of ourselves so that we can tailor it. I don't know. I'm just, thinking here, but.
Yeah, the tasks mentioned are project initiation is $2,000. Task 2 is recreation resource inventory and assessment. So I'm assuming that's just basically a capital assessments part of it. It's understanding what assets we have, what condition they're in, what we might want to do with those. We're going to have to be probably involved in that assessment anyways. So maybe we can save that one. Community outreach is probably about, just having some publicized meetings, getting input from people. We're gonna have to be, we're gonna have to be involved in all this stuff anyways. We're gonna have some level of input. It just seems like this is maybe a good one to try. And it's something we've talked about with Tim and his group before. Really looking at the opportunity, if we expand staff, how much of this stuff can we do internally? It just seems like we hire a lot of things outside. And in many cases, particularly in engineering, there's a level of expertise that we're not going to get with just general engineers. So it makes perfect sense. In your area as well, I'm sure there are some things that would be better off if we hired the right people to do it. That may be the case here, but I would just ask if we could maybe reconsider it, take it back to the parks team and you work with city staff and see where we might free up people to collaborate on this and use this as an opportunity to see what we might be able to do internally.
I think that makes sense. What I would recommend is that Greg and I meet with a couple of staff members that I think might be able to assist with this. We could put our heads together on whether we could do this in-house or whether we could do some portion of this in-house, figure out if we need to rethink the scope or who could provide support, and then come back to you.
Yeah, obviously, and all while remembering, the most important thing of this is we absolutely must get this done, because our ability to secure grants from the
Right.
Michigan DNR is obviously important to us doing stuff, but
And Paddler's Park is gonna be right in the spring, so it's gonna have to be done by then. But, maybe in 2 weeks, we can have a good assessment on whether or not this is workable. And if it's not, we can return to here. I think, prolonging this 2 weeks is not gonna put us to a timeline we can't do. Hopefully, we'll find that we can get it done internally.
Greg, you okay with that?
I have a real quick question. When I first became mayor, I met with as many community partners as I could, one of them being the Southwest Michigan Planning Commission, and they talked with me about how they do help municipalities generate these master plans. I just pulled their website up and it says master planning on there, so I don't know if that's a partner we've worked with in the past for this kind of thing.
So the part of this process, they are involved, part of the public engagement, public input. We also send them the master plan. So once you reach a certain point in the process, there has to be a 30-day public review. It's sent to them as part of that 30-day public review. So yeah, they're a part of it in a couple different ways.
But they wouldn't be helping us generate the plan that you're talking about.
I don't know if they would do that so much. I think they help with trying to get more public engagement, but we can certainly ask.
Yeah, I think it's worth exploring because they're right up the street from us. They're local, and if they can help us out and maybe save a few bucks, it'd be worth asking a question.
Yeah, that's
Cool.
great. Thank you.
All right, so do you have direction from us? Is it clear? We're gonna bring
I
this
think
back
we're
in.
clear. I don't think we need a motion.
Don't need a
We'll
motion.
explore it and either move forward in-house or bring it back to you if we feel like we need to continue to outsource in some way.
All right, thanks, Greg.
Thank you, Greg.
All right, that moves us along to reports and city comments. City manager, you go first.
Oh, great. I was not quite ready. I just want to highlight that we have beautiful new wayfinding signage. When I started in November of 2022 as the assistant city manager, the city manager at the time said, "Here, do this." And I sat for a week and wrote up an RFP and did research on wayfinding and signage. And the wayfinding signs were installed over the last week or so. They look lovely. It has really been a labor of love from so many folks who came around the table. We had this really great stakeholder group of probably 20 members. I'm looking at Chris Lannert, who was part of it, and designed fabulous signs. Kelly, since she began in December, has been leading the way on it. And they look great. So just want to celebrate that win. These things do not happen quickly, but they do happen. And it's been really lovely to be able to drive by and see them and enjoy them. So thanks to Kelly and thanks to the stakeholder group for all their work on that.
Fabulous.
That's all
Thank
I
you.
got, I think.
All right, commission comments.
Last week, I was able to help attend the ribbon cutting for the Whirlpool Centennial Park restroom facility. So thank you to city staff and everybody who put that together. It's just that project coming together. It just makes one of our key amenities downtown or one of those reasons for people to come to St. Joe. that much better. So big win for our community there. And then also I spent this weekend actually in Wisconsin across the lake, helping to represent St. Joe. My kids were participating in an NFL flag football tournament, and we have two teams in our program, St. Joe Rocket Football. So just wanted to give a shout out to all those boys and girls that went and have represented St. Joe at 6 different tournaments throughout the Midwest and West Virginia throughout the last 10 months. So
Cool.
for me.
I'd just like to say, my wife and I have been morning walkers in St. Joe for a long time, and there's a noted difference this year with the amount of pedestrian traffic downtown, which I think is something that we've all been wanting to see. So I think it's just worth pointing out that St. Joe is very walkable. It's a great town to get out and about. And I would say it's 3 or 4x the amount of volume that I've seen in years past. So we're moving in the right direction. I think some of the signage has been very helpful. I think the below the bluff direction that's on the sidewalk and how to accommodate the direction and the traffic flow that we want down there has been helpful. So it's just a pleasure to get out in the morning, and people are pretty darn happy in St. Joe.
Definitely, and speaking of the bluff, I was at the farmer's market this Saturday. Got to have some really great conversations with constituents as well as the farmers down there. So if you guys happen to be at the farmer's market, take a look at the city tent. I'll be out there a lot, other commissioners as well, and we're happy to talk to you. It's a really, really great way to connect that maybe isn't in a formal meeting like this, but we do love having those conversations. So come see us on the bluff.
All right. And then as far as any events happening, we had the auto show a week or two ago. That was really cool. Thank you to St. Joe Today for bringing that back downtown. And then we have Chalk the Block coming up. Is that this weekend? So come on out and enjoy all the artwork on the sidewalks. So without any other comments, we have a closed session coming up next. So I think we need a motion for that.
I move that the St. Joseph City Commission go into closed session with its attorneys Lori Schmidt and Michael Cluck for the purpose of consultation regarding trial or settlement strategy in connection with pending litigation filed with the Federal Mediation and Conciliation Service, case number 251216-02001, for the reason that an open meeting would have detrimental financial effect on the litigating or settlement position of the city pursuant to MCL 15.268(e).
Support.
Any public comment on the matter? All right, Abby, call the roll.
Commissioner Sorolla,
Yes.
Commissioner Olry,
Yes.
Commissioner Fernandez.
Yes.
Mayor Thomas.
Yes. All right, we will now go into closed session. We're going to leave this on.
Okay, we are unmuted whenever you're ready.
I move to return to open session.
Support?
Public comment on the matter? Steve? No. All right, Abby, call the roll.
Commissioner Olry,
Yes.
Commissioner Fernandez,
Yes.
Mayor Thomas.
Yes.
Commissioner Sorola.
Yes.
All right, that concludes our meeting at 7:50 PM.